Hey guys, welcome to this edition of Trish Standley TV. We are talking about a topic that we've previously discussed, but we have an expert on this one on today. We're going to be talking about Menopause 101, what's happening with your body, with Dr. Cassandra Parks-Evans. You do not want to miss this because my co-host is Nicolle Speaks. Stay tuned.
Trish Standley TV show.
Hey guys, welcome to Trish Standley TV. Today we're talking about the topic menopause. We've talked about this before. We had a panel in 2024 where we discussed it, but it was a bunch of us novice talking about what we were personally experiencing, but not really getting down to the nitty-gritty. And so today on this show, Menopause 101, we have our guest, none other than Dr. Cassandra Parks-Evans, but sitting beside me is my beautiful co-host, none other than Nicolle. Nicolle, introduce yourself and all the entities that you have going in your world.
In my world?
Yes.
Well, in my world. Faith to Fashion is me. I'm Nicolle Speaks, and I'm the owner and founder of House of Chic Couture Boutique. And it is filled with a plethora of ways to fashionably style your life, whatever stage of life you may be going in, from anywhere from clothing, you need a word, you need a hug, whatever the case may be.
Love life,
all that. That's what we on right now, this love life. Unfiltered combos and confessions is what we're on now, but it all rolls back into, how you style yourself from within so it radiates out.
Yes, and one of the topics that you dive in on your platform is menopause. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of funnies.
It's a lot of funnies.
To make light of the situation.
Yes, I do. Yes, I try to, because you never really were taught how to even live through it. Mm-hmm. And I find that we complain about it a lot. And I had to find the humor in it, because I'm just like, Lord, 1 minute I'm dressed to the nines and the next I'm down in t-shirt and panties, so it's like you just go through so many things. So I had to find the humor of it all. So it balances me out.
Yes, yes. So we're here. Mm-hmm. We're going to share our visions, or not visions, but our stories, our journeys. Mm-hmm. But we have the doctor here.
Yes.
And she's going to be able to help and assist us. And some of you guys who are faithful followers of Trish Standley TV, which used to be Style with Trish, Dr. Sand has been a mainstay for 10 plus years here on here. So she looks familiar, that is why. Plus, she my girl. But she is the owner of Let's Learn Love. And you are actually doing a current course, Menopause 101, which is where we got the name of the show from. But it's what's happening to my body.
Yes.
Share a little bit of your background and who you are. And then we'll roll right into why you decided to roll out this course.
Okay. Well, again, hi, everyone. If you're just meeting me, I am Dr. Cassandra Parks-Evans. I do own a company here in Metro Atlanta called Let's Learn Love, which has been a staple in premier relationship dating and intimacy coaching and consulting. Mm-hmm. I'm also a board-certified sexologist, and menopause, perimenopause has been a big platform for me. It started a couple of years back when I was researching for my book, Effing After 50. And
all right now.
Yes. But that's what kind of started it, because I was having a lot of clients that were perimenopausal, menopausal, and postmenopausal, and they were having trouble with their intimacy life. So it just kind of all snowballed, and then I got hit personally, and I was like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. So now I'm making it a forefront, because my mother, my grandmother, they, like you said, they were silent about this. And I was like, are you going to say anything? Why am I over here feeling like Satan has jumped into me, But literally
hot flashes.
I'm seeing red. I'm like, but I really want to get this conversation going, especially for the African community, African descendant community, because we have a tendency of taking symptoms a little bit different. And, this is what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, that's interesting that you said that, because on the previous show, one of the guests there, like I said, we were novice, we were just talking, but she did specifically say not for people of color, but Black women, and that you stated that. How is it, or what are some of the symptoms that we may experience that is different from other of our counterparts?
Yes. Well, one thing we have to realize is that our environment is so much different than our counterparts. And we have normal amounts of stress, especially during these times. Unfortunately, we're feeling like we're attacked and everything. And I'm not trying to make this political or anything like this, but we have a lot more stresses on us than the normal people of other races. So stress is number one. Our diets also, unfortunately, African Americans, we're number one in diabetes, heart failure, and those all play a part into our menopause systems as well. And what we have to realize is the decline of our hormones affect more than just our sexual organs. And that's what else I'm trying to get out too, is it's important to keep all of your reproductive system until you unfortunately get called home. It's important that we keep it together and going, and no matter what age.
I was just thinking about when you talked about keeping our reproductive organs. Now, I had to let mine go at a certain time frame, and it's just like I didn't go right into menopause. It lingered for a while, so therefore I didn't get it until I stepped over into 50 a few years ago. And so why do you say about keeping them? What's the significance of keeping them versus like you have to let them go?
Right. Well, anytime that you keep your ovaries, and I can speak from experience because I only have 3/4 of an ovary. That's a whole long story in itself, but I only have 3/4 of an ovary. So I was put into perimenopause early. But the reason why we want to keep them is no matter if they're functioning or not, they still help produce the hormones that we need for our body. So, that's why you'll hear sometimes the OBGYN will say, well, I'm going to tack them to your wall just to keep, keep it into your system. So it, it will still generate the hormones that you need, because we don't want any false or fake, hormones in our body as possible. So, if we can get it naturally, that's why a lot of doctors choose to just work with you on any condition that you have, but they rather you keep your reproductive organs than take them out.
And it's really weird, because not weird, but it's ironic. I had to, because I had a fibroid, and there was no way I could have tried to hold on to my uterus until I hit even perimenopause. It was just too large. But I've always had migraines, and I got migraines when I turned 10, which is the age I started my cycle. And been getting migraines all my life. Never really until after I had my daughter realized, okay, this might be a hormonal thing.
Right.
And so as soon as I started hitting perimenopause, boom, I don't have migraines like I used to. And so it's just weird how the body works and how all of that stuff is incorporated into each other. And and I was saying that to say, it's funny how the hormones, the deletion of them versus keeping them really does affect it, whether it's good or bad.
Right. Well, what probably was happening was your hormones were a little bit out of balance. And usually if women are getting migraines, it's usually because progesterone is a little bit higher than the estrogen. And it's supposed to play a little bit more in the background. It's supposed to be like the little sister to estrogen. But sometimes if it's the balance is off with that, and it may have been off a little bit because of the fibroids that you had. So it may have thrown your system off, and your system was like, hey, there's something in her uterus, she's pregnant. So that would have spawned progesterone more than the estrogen, because estrogen's role is really the main part when we think about being a woman. That gives us the breast development. That gives us, our vaginal wetness. That gives us anything that you think is womanly. That's what estrogen does. So it gives us the dewy skin, all of that, the hair.
The cramps.
Yes.
Ooh, don't miss those, but baby, yeah.
Yes. Again, we talk about Satan. That's a little bit of Satan right there. But progesterone is the little sister, and that is everything else that we think about. That's our moods. That is, how our blood is flowing. So they work in conjunction. But sometimes, like little sisters, and I'm one, we get a little mouthy and we overcome the big sister. So that's when you start having those issues.
The
like
imbalances. Yeah. That's good. Okay, so we're going to talk about, we kind of know now why you're doing the course, because she said she hit it.
Yes.
That's all it took.
Yes.
I'll be 50 this year. So yes, I'm in this course too.
So one of the things that you discuss in your course is you kind of break down the difference between menopause, menopause, and postmenopause. Now, postmenopause is something that's new to me.
Right.
Okay.
So if you can break down the difference between those three.
Okay, so think of them as 3 stages of that time. Peri is unfortunately getting younger because of hormones in the foods, the lifestyles that younger people are living. They're getting perimenopause earlier. And what does that mean? That means the beginning of hot flashes, the night sweats, all the things that we associate with menopause, that starts in peri.
Okay.
And again, unfortunately, it's becoming younger and younger. Now we're seeing ladies 35 starting. So that is the beginning of it. And then we get to actual menopause. Menopause is technically the cessation of a menstrual cycle for 12 months completely.
Okay.
I just had this.
It's crazy stories because I have a girlfriend who almost made a year and she got her cycle and she was like, so she has to go through another 12.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Yes. Until she is declared menopausal, it has to be a complete cessation of 12 months. And that's what I was going to say. I have a client that I'm working with and she was like, ooh, I'm on month 11. It was like 11:59, 59.
Oh,
Boom!
my goodness.
She said, she called me in the middle of the night, and my husband is used to all these crazy calls. Now I had to put my phone on silent. She called me crying at 1 o'clock in the morning. I can't
would've been crying
too. She just knew because she had set up her appointment for her doctor and everything, so she could get the ball rolling and all this.
Oh my gosh.
So, yes, it has to be a cessation for 12 months. And you still are having symptoms, though. The same symptoms that were in peri, they're now in menopause. But hopefully, now that you have no periods, you can deal with your hormones a little bit better. There's HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. There's holistic ways. There's different types of ways that you can do a diet. Whatever is fitting for you. Some people can't do holistic and they have to go to HRT, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I really recommend people do their research, talk to someone even before you go to your PCP or your obstetrician gynecologist. Make sure that you get the knowledge that you need to. And that's the one thing. Make yourself informed of what's going on. Also, one thing that I always stress is having a journal. Write down your feelings. Write down what symptoms you have, because I don't want people to go into a doctor's office and say, well, I think I'm menopausal. And they're going to ask you, well, what symptoms do you have? I don't know. Well, how do you know you're menopausal? Right. So there's things that the doctor needs to know in order to treat you correctly.
And in doing your research, because I've already made up my mind, cancer is rampant in especially my father's side, but my mother had cancer as well. And so I elect not to do the HRT of no kind. And so I had that conversation with my doctor. So on the last show, I shared that she had suggested Veoza, and I don't know if you've heard of Veoza or not, but I loved it. But the insurance will not approve it.
Right.
They want to force you on that HRT. And I feel like anytime you're forcing someone, it's because you want to guinea pig me. And I'm not, you can't guinea pig me.
I feel you.
So now I'm looking more into the holistic side of things. And we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. But what has been your decision? What have you decided to do in this whole project? You just going to suffer through it, or what? Because a lot of women are doing that. I'm just going to suffer my way through it.
Yes.
Well, you know, as we were talking before, you know, the hot flashes have become more of a day thing, and it's sporadic. You know, some days it's real cool. I don't have any problem at night. I think I'm at that point of, if it's okay right now, I ain't gonna mess with anything, you know.
If you can handle it.
If I can handle it, you know, because I don't want to add too much more to my body. Like we're talking about the heart disease and different things of that nature, that runs rampant in my family. And so when that hit me, and then on top of this, I was like, okay, this is way too much, you know, too many options for medicine and stuff like that. So I just said, I'm just gonna taper it. Won't handle one thing at a time, and then we'll see, you know, what goes on. Because just like you with the HRT, and cancer's on the other side of the family. So I don't really want to tap into too much. I want to kind of just see where we can go.
And I've heard they come a long way with it, but you're still guinea pigging, and I just don't.
I don't like all that. No.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry. Now, one thing that I want you to realize is, you said yours is during the day. What happens during the day in your life?
I'm working, girl.
Exactly. You're stressing,
Yep,
you know,
exactly.
you're trying to get things done. So it seems like yours is induced by stress. So you have to lower your stress.
Yeah.
So you might want, well, we're talking about holistic things, but you might want to do some holistic things more in the afternoon or the daytime for you, since you know you don't have them as much at night.
That's good. I mean, that's a great way to look at it. Now, for me, it's the terror of the night sweats. Now, I've always been, from a child, I've always sweat in my sleep. I mean, to the point where I wake up, my hair is wet. But this is crazy right now. And and the other thing is, I just went home. I flew home, and on my way flying home, I'm thinking, you know, I'm okay, I'm cool. You know, I did my normal regimen. When I tell you I'm on the plane and the rawest onion that has ever been created, my deodorant failed me.
Yes.
So now I'm in the air. It's a guy sitting next to me. Thankfully, my daughter's on this side of me. But it was so bad that when I got in the car, my niece picked me up from the airport. They had to roll the windows down. I was so embarrassed.
That's new.
That and night sweats has been my issue.
Yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, odor is one of the things as well.
Really?
And that's because of our sweat glands. Our sweat glands are different because our hormones are different. And if your hormones are trying to figure out what's going on, that stress on your body is going to come out.
And now you're talking about the stress, it was very stressful. To me, traveling, once I get there, I'm fine. But traveling, going through the airport, trying to park and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that was why it rose up on me like that. But I was like, woo.
Oh, I know. I keep like, if you look at my bag, I have
Yes.
and I don't even like the whole body, but
Right. It's finding the right one that works for you, though.
Yes.
and I will also recommend you switching up your deodorants as well, because your body gets a tolerance. And I rotate my deodorants not every week, but every month. You know, not saying that I may not go back to it, but I have a constant rotation because your body will get used to it just like everything else, and it will stop.
That's
completely.
a good advice, because I had found one that I really loved, and they discontinued it. And so I couldn't find it. So then I had, this has been since my airport incident. So after that is when I decided I had to go and find another one. So that's a good idea to just swap it out. And I try to get something that doesn't have aluminum and lead.
I gotta stay away from that.
Yeah, because that can cause breast cancer, as we know. But we also want to make sure that we watch our soy intake during this time too, especially if you're prone to having cancer or any traits or anything in your family. So we want to watch our soy. And that's why holistically is very important to work with a doctor and someone that is knowledgeable in the holistic things. Because, you know, sometimes we take these multivitamins and these things that are specifically for menopause, but one thing that I want you to do before you do that is go and get your blood work taken. Yes. And it's very important because we don't want to take something and we already have an abundance of something and we may be taking medication for diabetes or, you know, just anything and it can interact with what you're taking. So we want to make sure that we're not taking anything over or even if it's certain minerals, if we get too many of them in our body, it can shut certain things down and like liver detox is needed and those things. So we want to make sure that we're only getting what we need and not over.
Yeah, and you made that point in the green room when we were preparing. You was saying being careful, and I think that's important anyway. Being careful with multivitamins, whether you're going through menopause or not, because like you were saying, when I got my blood work done, the only two things that my magnesium was low and my vitamin D was low, which added to the reason why I was tired a lot because your body already tripping, and so then your vitamin D is low, you're even more tired. And so I knew that those two things I needed, but if I was taking a multivitamin, it would be that I would be taking all the other stuff, the vitamin E, the vitamin B, and all of that. I'm sufficient in. And so I never even thought about that either until you mentioned it.
And vitamin D is deficient in most Black people because of the melanin in our skin. We're always inside. We're creative people to be outside. So with us not being outside and getting natural vitamin D, most Black people are deficient in vitamin D. But what we also need to understand about taking a multivitamin is that causes stress on your body. Like if you're getting too much, that stress again will trigger, you know, hot flashes, night sweats. So that's why it's also important too to make sure that we go and we do functional blood work and make sure, you know, we're okay and what we need.
Yeah, so I think that because we always talk about different things that might trigger hot flashes. So we already know sugar, and which is I think is Lord is he be laughing at us. He laughing at us because this is when you crave sugar the most.
Yes,
and then you eat it, and then you flashing out.
You are right. You are so right.
That's what I had to do. I had to cut my sugar out. I was on a keto type diet before, and I said, oh, you know, I can kind of slow back, but the hot flashes were coming fast, and I realized it was because my blood sugar was not stable. So I, you know, regulated that. I'm trying to do more things that I know are going to benefit me. The taking away the sugars and the carbs. Anything white basically is not good for a body during menopause at all, because our body is set up to say, okay, well, if she doesn't have as much estrogen or progesterone, she doesn't need her reproductive organs, so I'm going to start slowing down. So that starts slowing everything else down. So you have to kind of counteract that with your diet. So,
which is why weight gain is a part of the. And you know, I was sitting here thinking, I had gotten to a point where I would rage when I was driving. Okay, everybody already know. Y'all already know I don't like driving. Everybody who know me know I don't like driving. But I would get into a straight rage. And I'm thinking, I wonder if that was the onset of perimenopause at that time. Because when I say, I don't give me no gun, because I would shoot up the city. That's how bad I was raging to the point where I had to start taking back roads. I couldn't get on the expressway. And so now I'm thinking about it. That was probably when it started for me.
And you can always tell too, like for me, I realized maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes after I ate, I just start sweating. And I was like, why am I sweating like this? And then I would get a headache. And it was my body trying to process that sugar and stress. And again, all of a sudden, you know, I'm in a hot sweat. I'm doing like this. I'm smelling myself.
Right,
I'm
right.
musty now, you know. So it's just things that
the
you
slightest
realize.
stuff.
Yeah, things that you realize, and you're like, okay, I need to change stuff. So that's why, again, going back to having a journal and jotting down your symptoms and what's going on with you today is very important, because you're able to calculate, okay, I know when I eat this happens. When I drink this, that happens. You know, so you're
Alcohol
able.
is another thing. I cannot do alcohol now, and I ain't gonna give up my wine. But I can't do alcohol is I don't like the taste of it. I don't like the way it makes me feel anymore. That was the biggest change for me. And from what I understand from other people, it's a trigger for hot flashes as well.
And migraines. The tannins in it will cause a migraine. So you have to make sure it's tannin free. And I'm not, a spokesman for any wines or anything like that, but look for some that are lower in tannins, or get the filters. They have the aerator filters that you put on wine to help take some of those tannins out, because that will increase night sweats, hot flashes, migraines, throw your hormones off as well. And if you are going to drink, I always recommend red wine that is not sweet. Anything less with sugar. So that's going to be your cabs, your Merlots, things like that. So those are good for you. And not only that, it's good for heart health too. Now, I'm not saying the whole bottle. No. We ain't going down the bottle. We going to have a glass or two. But,
Big glass.
Right. But, it's also good for heart health.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so we touched a little bit on, did you have something to add? Okay, we touched a little bit on some of the holistic ways and routes and paths that we can go. But I was sharing before, my doctor had allowed me to try the Veoza, but the insurance wouldn't cover it. But I loved it because it didn't deposit any hormones in my system. And the way she broke it down to me was that the cause of the hot flashes is your brain is telling your body that it's cold, and so it's working extra hard to cool your body off, even though you're not. It's a miscommunication, put it that way. And so the Veoza is worked with your brain, the communication, what's going on with your brain. Okay, no, she's not cold. She doesn't need to reheat. Girl, I love that thing. I love that pill, but the insurance wouldn't cover it. So now I've gone to the what's the other one? The Estravine, something over counter. And it's took a little longer for it to kick in. I don't need it every day, but it's new to my system, so I'm learning that. But what are other options that we have? Because I know you had at one point, you had a line of products. I ordered that as well. So share with us what you suggest holistically.
Holistically, I will tell you certain herbs. And one of the biggest, two of the biggest ones that I think any woman should look into is black cohosh. That does a lot. That actually mimics estrogen. So it's going to help your mood. We all know we need that. Jesus, Lord. So that number one is going to help you with your mood. It's going to help with hot flashes. It's going to help with night sweats. But not only that, it helps put your body in a status, like a state of just, we're good. And like you were saying about the brain and your organs, what's going on is your organs are shutting down because you don't have the estrogen. They're like, okay, I'm on vacation. It's July. I'm done. But your brain is like, you still got all this stuff down here that needs to be working. So that's why the signals go. But when you have a trace of something that mimics that in your system's like,
it's not as harsh.
Okay, well, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to wait a second to figure it out. So black cohosh, matcha powder is always good too, and red clover. Red clover also is very good for women because it also mimics estrogen as well. But what we want to make sure is that we don't take too much of it. And if we do take something that has multiple herbs or minerals in it, we want to make sure that we take them slowly. Like if we're taking one particular herb, and we want to add like 2 to make it like, a double effect, take one at a time to see if your body can handle it. Also, you want to make sure that you check with your PCP, because we want to make sure if we're on any medication, again, it doesn't counteract with that. Not only that, if you do have a reaction to something, you know what it is immediately. Sometimes when we're taking these multiple things, we don't know what it is because there's a ton of ingredients in there. We don't know where the ingredients come from. We don't know if the plant is safe and clean, and if it's coming from overseas, their quality is different. So we want to make sure that everything that we do is, holistically checked by some kind of company that has standards. We also want to make sure that we only take a herb or a mineral or whatever we're using one at a time, and give your body some time to go through it, because sometimes it takes 1 or 2 weeks to have a breakout, unfortunately, because like you were saying with yours that you're taking, you don't need it every day, so you may not know something is going to happen until you have a buildup of it in your system.
That makes sense.
And so now we have you on here as a doctor sexologist. That's another area that affects some. Is your sex drive and all of that. So break that down, because you're also is it cannabis? Is that the word? You're a advocate for cannabis for certain things. So just share whatever you want around that, because that also helps for me. The CBD, is that what that helps me with the night sweats. So
the CBD, CBG, CBN, those are all derivatives of like the CBD line. And what that means is that you don't get the psychoactive part from like the THC. That's the psychoactive part that affects the brain. But CBD, CBG, CBN, things like that deal with the endocannabinoid system. There's 2 parts. There's 1 and 2. So that part is strictly for your body, going into the receptors, plugging in, making sure everything is good. So that's why I'm a great advocate of that, because sometimes, when people go through menopause, they have atrophy because, again, we're not using it. Is slowly decreasing, so the lubrication is gone. Sometimes you experience pain, So with that, it helps, ease your body, allows you to be intimate. And that's always the first step. You want to make sure that your mind is good with this too. So, some of the herbs that I was talking about help you with that. And of course, CBD and THC can do that as well. But you want to make sure that you are knowledgeable in the dosing. You want to make sure that it's, okay with your job. You don't want to, that's the one thing that you want to know is, even if you do take something like CBD, CBN, that can still show up in a drug test. So you always want to make sure that, the things that you're using are not going to harm you in any form or fashion, whether it's your body or your job. Different strains help with different things. One strain is Blue Dream, and that helps release, anxiety, because a lot of women have anxiety, unfortunately, because, our bodies change, we're apprehensive, where our mind is not there. So that takes away anxiety. Sometimes too, like if somebody has had sexual trauma, even though that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but sexual trauma can have people tense up as well, and that helps relax them and helps them get more towards the state of intimacy.
Sounds like I'm gonna need a cocktail, because I've been asking this for quite a while. And, I might need me a cocktail. We gotta talk after the show.
Yes, but it's there. I'm very much an advocate for that, with proper dosing, proper knowledge. You know, I'm not telling anybody just to go into their local smoke shop. That's, you know, why I'm here, while other people are here. Get knowledge first, you know, do some research. And Google is free, guys. You know, go in there, Google some stuff, try to find out some stuff, then take that to somebody that is knowledgeable. That way you don't come in green, you come in with questions that, you know, are catered to you. You know, hey, I have this issue. What do you think? Do you think this strain or that strain can help me with this? You know, and that's a starting point. Always try to give the person that's helping you a starting point. And you can do that by just, you know, doing some research on your own.
And it also cuts down on the guinea pig. You know, so you going in and you saying, okay, and I love the fact that you stated about, because I had this on my list, but you already touched on it, the importance of the journaling journey.
Yes.
And I think it's good too, not just so you can have it to go into your doctors, but we really have got to do better with having communication, open communication with our girls, our little sisters or other women, and be more open to this conversation, because it's like it almost feels like a suffering in silence type thing. We talk a lot now, but we are the ones who just started the conversation, and it was once we hit the wall, we were like, whoa, what is this? And so I think that having these conversations, letting the younger ones know it's coming. It may not look exactly like mine, but it's coming. And I think that would help feel more secure. But if we can talk a little bit about self-esteem and self-worth. I know I'm about self-love here on the show. Just each of you just give your input on, you may even still, because are you in perimenopause? Okay, so you're in the genesis of it. I'm smack dab in the middle. I don't know where you are. But we also need to talk about postmenopause too in a second. But just share a little bit. I will share mine after you guys do, but share a little bit of your journey just in your self-esteem, self-worth, during this time, going through this process, and be as real as you want to be.
Well, you know, this is the heaviest I've been in the last 10 years, pretty much. And so with my weight fluctuating and stuff, I had to, you know, find a new love for myself at this size. I've always loved myself. I always thought I was that girl. It didn't matter, whatever. I'm going to dress it up and it's going to be right. But, you know, here's lately now being older, thinking about dating again, all those different things. It's just like, oh my goodness, you know. That's why I say, you know, listening to you, we're going to talk. But in a nutshell, loving myself, I had to find a whole new way. I journal different now. Journal differently now. So I see myself in a different light. You know, I'm still, you know, learning me, you know, even at this age. The things that I thought were working don't work anymore. So, you know, I had to find, you know, different solutions and stuff. But the biggest thing was really just, you know, being comfortable in the woman that I am. You know, that was hard for a minute because I'm not used to having, okay, now I got to get an extra size, or I got to let my dress out a little bit or something like that. That was hard for me. And just learning that all those different levels, your estrogen, your this, your that, all plays in a factor of how you see yourself. And, you know, I had to learn to give myself grace. Because, baby, I was hard on me. I'm like, you know better. And I can hear my father's voice when I remember when my mother gained some weight. He was like, all right, you need to get rid of that other woman. And I'm like, now I hear his voice like, let me get rid of this other woman because we're not used to her, you know. But I've made it work. I tried to be as healthy as possibly I could because I knew of the hereditary things. But it was just hard to see myself in this light because I'm not used to seeing her, you know. So I had to take one of those moments, get naked in front of the mirror and be like, okay,
fall in love again.
Because, you know, you're still beautiful, you know, but it took a minute to see it for myself because your body's going through all of these changes that, you know, you just didn't think would happen. When you got to 50, you thought, maybe, okay, I'm still going to be that girl, you know, I'm still going to be able to wear my 14s and stuff like that and be fine. Because, you know, I always had the rear issue was always an issue. So I wasn't worried about that. But when the front started sticking out like the rear, baby.
They matched. They became friends.
We can't. We got to break up this relationship. So
Right.
I've been working on breaking up that relationship because I'm
Yeah.
like, this is not cute.
Yeah.
You know. But I still had to get raw with myself and just then find that girl that was just like, you know, okay, you're fearfully and you're wonderfully made, even at 18. You at a 20. You know, whatever the case may be. I had to just fall in love with her and just reignite my affirmations, you know, my self-love as far as taking myself out to good restaurants versus the ones that was bad ones, you know, those type of things. And getting rest.
Yes.
And because I've learned that I cannot be everything for everybody.
That's right.
And I was hard-headed on that. And so that self-love had to really begin with me before I gave it to everybody else. So,
Amen. Amen. I'm very transparent. As you see, I cut my hair off, and this is new. This is new.
it looked good on you.
Thank you. I washed my hair, and it was coming out in clumps, and I knew I needed to do something, so I cut it off. And that self-love thing, I was like,
Because we attach so much as women to our hair.
Yeah.
But
We do.
yeah, go ahead.
We do.
and my hair, anybody who knows me, my hair has been long forever. And even though I wear wigs and weaves and put it up, but my natural hair was always long. And I was like, well, my hair is, you have to go with it. I realized that this was a new journey for me. This was a journey that some women didn't get to have.
That's true.
So I'm embracing it. You know, we take a lot for granted. There's the times where I realized I had gray hair and I cried at 40. Oh my God, my hair is turning silver. And at first, you know, I was in the mirror and I thought it was some lint. And I was like, oh, this is my hair. And that was the first thing. And then I noticed, you know, my subtle pudginess and the wrinkles and the my bags, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm losing my youth. But then I thought about it again, and I had to realize some people did not get here, and I'm going to embrace it. So now, you know, I'm trying to be healthier for me, try to live as long as I can, you know, for my children and you know, my spouse, if you know, I don't go to jail. but you know, that's stressful too. That's another reason why I got hot flashes. But you know, you have to learn to embrace everything. And like you were saying, it's a journey. Embrace it. You know, not everything is going to be okay, but we have to learn that about life anyway. You know, and you do have to have that hard moment where you see that cottage cheese thigh or, you know, that varicose vein. But again, you know, you've had children, you've had a career, you've been a woman for a long time. Stuff is going to break down like anything else. So you just take it, package it as best that you can, keep it going, you know, put a quarts of oil in there, you know, kick start it, you know, do whatever you need to do. But, you know, make sure that you embrace the journey. And that's what I had to do, you know, have fun with it. You know, now I cut my hair, I'm coloring it, I'm talking about going platinum, rose gold. Let me see what I can do now. And I've never been that person. If you knew me, blonde was, you know, ooh, that was racy for me. But now, you know, I'm experiencing new things and want to do different things. And this is a perfect time to do that. You know, most of us are empty nesters. We don't have anybody to answer to as far as kids. You know, experiment, go out there, live life, do. And that's what I had to learn during my journey.
And that's amazing. I love it because it is different phases. You think about when we leave adolescence and go into our teen years or puberty, I should say, and then you go from puberty to being a young adult, and this is just a different phase in life. And we think we've been coasting so long, you know, in this phase that we're leaving out of, that we forget there's another part. There's actually two more parts to this life. And so for me to have to go through that process and still sit behind the camera and everybody see me go through this process, I had to lose 30 pounds and I had to get help to lose those 30 pounds, which I'm not ashamed about. I'm not mad about, because I was thinking my hair fell out And I was thinking that the main reason that it fell out, which was the medications for blood pressure, because my blood pressure shot up. But also, when you're saying your hair started coming out, that may also be a part of the menopause. And so all of this, I'm having to figure out. I was locked for 18 years, and I didn't know no other. All this new age stuff. It gets on my last nerve. I just can't. I can't. And so I had to get used to doing the wigs and all of that. And you guys go and you view last year, 2024. I was 2023 more so. I was really all up in it. I mean, but I still had to talk myself into coming here and doing what I do. I felt I hate looking at that footage. I hate looking at those pictures, but it was a process that I had to go through. And now that we're sitting here talking about menopause, I'm glad that I did it, because it's a testament that you still got to get up and live. You still, those who have purpose and calls on their lives, you still got to live out that purpose. You still got to live out that call. You can look fabulous, or as fabulous as you can doing it. And sometimes, and a lot of times, we think that every time we do something in life that we got to feel jolly and good about doing it. And that's not the case. It's going to be a lot of times when you don't feel like doing it. But as we know, we're not here for ourselves. We were here and placed here for others. So that's been the learning process that I'm still going through, because I'm still trying to figure out what am I doing with my hair next, but it's an ongoing journey. But even just living through the process, each little bit by bit is giving me back to me. And so I'm able to build, and I'm continuously building my self-love and self-worth, because I had it in my 40s. Y'all couldn't tell me nothing. But now I'm having to almost reinvent, and I'm making it fun. Like you said, I'm making it fun. I'm playing with the wigs, playing with the different looks. And so, and I think that anybody who's going through this process, you're not going to always feel good, and that's okay. But just make as much fun of it as you can. I want to thank you guys for coming and hanging out. Our time went fast, didn't it? But Sam, I want to thank you for coming. You're doing this course, Menopause 101, What's Happening to My Body. Share that information. And also, is Effing After 50, is that still available for purchase?
Yes.
Okay,
actually, you can get that on digital for 99 cents. If you follow me on any of my social media, you can get it for 99 cents. I have a course that I personalize for individual, and what I want to do is make sure that it is catered to you. And that is very important. Again, I need to know everything that's going on, because everybody's journey is different. So that's why I did this course, Menopause 101. And I also have one for African American women as well, because again, our journey is a little bit different than other races, unfortunately. So I have something that talks about, the foods that we like to eat, what we can replace with, and things like that. So that is very important to me. Intimacy after 50 is very important. Not just physical intimacy, but emotional intimacy, spiritual intimacy. So I deal with that as well. I also am doing just all kinds of things when it comes to menopause, because menopause, it was not talked about, because back in the day, our people were told not to talk about stuff outside the house.
They were embarrassed by it.
Yes. So now that we're talking about it, let's get our friends on board. Let's have parties. Let's do whatever we need to do to get this information out.
Well, thank you, Sam.
Thank you for
Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome.
Guys, we'll be right back.
Trish Standley TV show.
I would like to thank my guest who came and hung out with me, my co-host, Nicolle Speaks. Make sure you go and connect with her. She's doing some amazing things, and she has an amazing ministry for women. So make sure you go and check her out. And of course, the sweetheart of my set has always been Dr. Cassandra Parks-Evans. She is doing some amazing work in helping us get our bodies right, going through this process of menopause. There's a quote that I want to share with you, ladies out there who are going through the same transition that we are. Check this out. And I have to read it. An old Native American saying says that at her first bleed, she's introduced to her power. During her bleeding years, she practices her power. And at menopause, she becomes that power. Don't focus on the decline and deficiency that happens during this change. Instead, know we are walking into the greatest season of power yet. Ladies, let's continue to walk in our power. Thank you guys for joining us. And as I always say, love isn't love unless you give it away. See you guys soon.
This is the place